Amen, guys. We're going to be talking a little bit about kindness and what does that look like in your life. You know, if we look at in Proverbs 11:17, it says, your kindness will reward you, but your cruelty will destroy you. And what does that look like in your life? You know, being stuck in this quarantine, we're sitting here with our parents, we're sitting here with our grandparents, like Pastor Todd said, our cats, our dogs, our brothers, our sisters. And what does that look like for you? Is it stressful? Is it annoying? You might have your little brother, your little sister coming in the room, kicking in your door. Play with me, do this with me, do that with me. And you know what? Sometimes that gets on our nerves. But what we need to look at is, how are we supposed to act? What are we supposed to do? Who are we supposed to be like? My question for you is, what do you want out of life? Do you want respect? Do you want happiness? Do you want good things to happen to you? You know, I have a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old son, and I tell him all the time, I'm Lincoln, if you want good things to happen to you, you need to be good. See, good things reap good rewards. And God calls us to be kind. He calls us to be good, to be respectful. When you treat people with kindness, you receive kindness. Let me say that again. When you treat people with kindness, you receive kindness. In 1 Corinthians 13:1, it says, if I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but did not love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. I'm gonna tell you right now, God does not call you to be a noisy gong. He calls you to speak life. He calls you to speak wisdom. He calls you to speak love. He calls you to speak kindness. He calls you to be merciful. He's gonna call you to do every single one of these things that we're talking to you about today. He calls you to live a life like Him. You see, kindness is a byproduct of love. You can't have kindness without love. You can't have kindness without love. What is God's 2 greatest commandments? I want you to think about that right now. What's God's 2 greatest commandments? What does He tell you to do? He tells you to love God and love people. You can't love God and not love people. You can't love people and not love God. They go hand in hand. We are called to love God and love people. You know, in the Bible, it talks about a guy that was beaten and left on the side of the road. And the story's about a good Samaritan, and 3 people went by, and one of them stopped. And this guy knew nothing about him. He stopped, he saw this man beaten, left on the side of the road, and he said, I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna be kind. I'm gonna be merciful, I'm gonna be gracious, I'm gonna help this man. And that's what God calls us to do. He calls us to be gracious. He calls us to help. He took him in and took him to basically the hospital and said, put anything it's gonna cost, put on my tab. I'm gonna pay for it all. Because he has a heart of kindness. Because he loved people. Because he loved God. And in this time that we're going through, and we're sitting here with all of our family, and we can't really see our friends except video chat or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media outlet you're using, we can still be kind through those things. Comments. How many times do I go on Instagram and I look at comments and people are tearing people down? That's not what God has called us to do. God's called you to be kind. If we are striving to be like Christ, we are called to be kind to our brothers and sisters, our moms, our dads, and everyone in your life. You see, we are called to strive to be like Christ. We're called to go after Him, do what He does. If you see Jesus out feeding the hungry, then that's what we should be doing. If He's going out and helping the poor, then that's what we should be doing. If He's going out and He's helping people, don't you think that's what we should be doing? We are called to be like Christ. My last thought for you is kill them with kindness. When people treat you wrong and you want to react the same way, choose to be like Christ. Come on.